Welcome to the PA is In podcast, where we discuss entrepreneurship and evidence-based tools for running a small business. Tune in to learn how to translate your clinical skills into business tools. In alignment with our mission to bring zero cost to you content about clinician entrepreneurship, today's episode is sponsored by, my program, the Clinician Entrepreneur Collective. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. This one is a full-on direct invitation, because I think there are far more clinicians capable of entrepreneurship than currently believe that it's possible for them. I think and believe deeply that clinicians are sitting on business ideas, coaching informally all too often for free, making educational content without capitalizing on the potential income there, speaking, consulting, creating resources to serve others, building small side hustles, and quietly or not so quietly dreaming about more flexibility, freedom, and more options. Clinicians want to be able to practice medicine electively on their time and on their terms. But most clinicians never learned about business, whether that's small business or the business of large healthcare systems and the way that our current healthcare system operates. So what happens? Those clinicians are practicing medicine. They have an idea. They dabble, put together a side hustle, experiment. They start and stop. Some get frustrated at the lack of progress. They make a little money, maybe decent money, maybe some money, and then they don't know how to continue to generate leads. But very few clinicians actually scale their business to the point where they can reduce their clinical hours, where their business creates sustainable income for themselves and their families, where they build real systems and grow a team of people to help serve the world well, where they can establish healthy boundaries with business, or ultimately that they go on to be able to practice medicine electively instead of from a sense of financial obligation or sunk cost that they've invested so much in this career or this degree. Not because those clinicians aren't capable of entrepreneurship, but because no one taught them how to diagnose and treat a business. A human body, diagnosis, treatment plan, informed consent, slam dunk. That is why Clinician Entrepreneur Collective exists. CEC is an 8-week small business course designed specifically for clinicians. I built Clinician Entrepreneur Collective like a clinical rotation. We are accepting students who are clinicians who already understand how to practice medicine. As a clinician, you understand frameworks and systems and organ systems and disease processes and diagnoses and treatment plans and optimization of outcomes for your patients. So instead of teaching business in vague corporate jargon that no one practicing medicine understands, I teach entrepreneurship by teaching in a language that clinicians already know and use daily. Inside of CEC, each week focuses on a different business organ system. Over the 8 weeks, we talk about leadership, sales, marketing, operations, systems, cash flow, optimizing your offers, and implementing this entire plan for a healthy business that operates like a healthy human body. We will discuss the top 7 disease processes that most often kill small businesses. Things like poor cash flow, weak sales, inconsistent or confusing marketing, lack of leadership and not being a business on a mission, burnout, overcomplication, lack of effective systems, and businesses that depend entirely on the exhausted founder holding everything together. Guilty as charged. Here's the deal. A lot of clinician businesses are functioning like a patient in compensated shock. From the outside, everything looks okay. Great website, appears to be running well, but internally, the systems are struggling. There is a bottleneck of time, and that founder is the only one who's generating revenue for that company. And eventually, that catches up with people. Here's what I want you to understand. Being clinically excellent does not automatically mean that you know how to run a business, even with an incredible idea on how to serve people better. Running a business is an entirely different skill set than the one that you use to practice clinical medicine, and that's okay. You learned medicine. You learned pathophysiology and pharmacology and anatomy and physiology and understanding diagnosis and treatment, and you became a master communicator. And just like you honed those skills over time, you can also learn entrepreneurship. Inside CEC, I help clinicians to translate the clinical, communication, and critical thinking skills they already have into business tools, strategies, and systems. Because you already know how to solve problems and communicate and think critically, you're an expert at quickly building trust and educating patients. I know you know how to lead under pressure and assess systems and make diagnoses and treatments. Now it's time to learn how to market and sell ethically and build systems that scale and create sustainable offers that are profitable and in demand, to learn how to generate revenue and how to scale your business without burning yourself completely out along the way. One of my favorite examples of this is the informed consent sales framework. As a clinician, you already know how to educate patients on their diagnosis, discuss risks and benefits of treatment options, assess their readiness to engage with the treatment plan, guide their decisions, and help people move towards the action that you need them to take in order to make them feel better. That informed consent discussion is something that you have done thousands of times. That's sales. It's not manipulation. It's helping someone to understand what their diagnosis is and get them on board with a treatment plan. Ethical sales is simply helping people to make informed decisions about whether or not your product or service is a thing that's going to help them solve their problem. And clinicians are often naturally excellent at this because they learn the framework of informed consent and they've been doing it for years. The other thing I want to say very clearly is this. Clinician Entrepreneur Collective is intentionally affordable because I remember what it felt like to want to learn a business while having to pay for a website to be built without wanting to spend thousands and thousands of dollars upfront. The investment is $199 total for the full 8-week experience of Clinician Entrepreneur Collective. Now, inside of CEC, you get weekly course content, office hours, live group coaching calls, implementation support, and access to a community of clinician entrepreneurs who are building something alongside you. Entrepreneurship can feel incredibly lonely when you're the only person in your life dreaming about practicing medicine electively and simply knowing that you have what it takes to start and scale a small business. Studies show that you are most like your closest friends and connections. So your environment, network, and connections really matter. Being around clinicians who are building, dreaming, creating, biased towards action, and thinking differently about their future, it changes what feels possible for you in your life and your career. So, if entrepreneurship has been calling to you, if you've started a little side hustle that you want to make a legitimate small business that pays you regularly, if you know you're capable of more and you're craving that flexibility, that autonomy and creativity, making that impact and diversifying your income, I want to formally invite you to join us inside the Clinician Entrepreneur Collective because I believe clinicians deserve options. And I think so many clinicians are far more capable of starting and scaling small businesses than they realize. Medicine trained you to save lives. CEC helps you to learn how to build something sustainable alongside or instead of the practice of clinical medicine. If you're interested, join us at tracybinghamon.com/waitlist. Our next cohort starts on July 1st, 2026. Because medicine may have been your training, but it doesn't have to be your only path to prosperity. That's all for today, and I truly hope you'll consider joining us inside the Clinician Entrepreneur Collective. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to another episode of The PA is In. That's all for today. This PApreneur is out.